The financial chaos of President Trump's tariff war against the world is beginning to trickle down all the way to the city of Denver's budget, as uncertainty about how much the city can spend next year, how much individual departments can spend if Americans stop buying as much to avoid higher costs. Our Mark Salinger has that.
Thank you for this really very depressing start to our week.
When city council meetings go like this, it's probably time to pay attention.
This is concerning.
I'm floored, but not really floored, that we're in this situation.
What is our budget shortfall?
Today's Finance Committee meeting was aimed at sharing initial thoughts on Denver's 2026 budget. The only thing that's clear, though, is that tariffs, supply chain problems, stock market fluctuation, and overall economic uncertainty have made preparing for the future virtually impossible.
In a normal budget year, we would be able to give more definitive guidance to agencies. At this point in the year, with all the uncertainty, we want to be able to keep watching the numbers for a little bit longer.
Denver's general fund reserve is already lower than anticipated, fueled by a $40 million shortfall last year in projected sales and use tax revenue. The city's finance department is sending an early warning to the mayor and city council that next year's budget will have to be smaller, focusing on not hiring open positions and reducing some services and supplies.
The next several months are going to be, very, very uncomfortable.
And then there's another curveball. None of these projections include potential cuts to federal funding that President Trump has threatened for Democratic cities like Denver.
Does any of this reflect the potential loss of federal funding?
The city is spending typically between $100 million and $200 million a year in all sorts of grants, with the vast majority of those being federal grants.
So if all of that federal funding were to go away, the finance department for Denver told city councilors bluntly today that the city does not have the capacity to backfill it. They call it yet another risk that they're carefully monitoring. There have already been several federal grant terminations, including migrant programs, climate grants, and public health projects in the city of Denver, Kyle.
Mark, I feel like you've been covering the budget scramble for Denver now for years, because before this, it was how to respond to the immigration crisis, and the city was rejiggering budgets in the middle of the year.
Exactly, and before that, it was COVID and the pandemic. The pandemic was brought up several times today as the last time that a lot of these things that they're looking at, this much uncertainty, happened back in 2020, of course. And now they're kind of looking at that playbook of how they got through 2020 to try and figure out how to move forward now.
Mark Salinger, thank you.